In this lecture, we will review the career of a sex worker. Is sex work really a career? Given the stigmatized and often risky nature of sex work, many scholars and social service professionals have studied entry into this profession. There are two general explanations. One emphasizes negative experiences in childhood and adolescence, such as physical and sexual abuse, family instability, poverty, homelessness, and contact with exploitative men such as pimps or drug dealers. The other explanation emphasizes factors in the environment at the point of entry, especially economic need, the lack of job skills, often reflecting poor education, and limited employment opportunity. Past research generally studied small samples of workers in a particular venue or part of the industry, given a narrow picture of the influences on their entry. New research compared predictors of entry into sex work with predictors of entry into two other service occupations: food and beverage servers, and barbering and hairstyling. Workers in the three occupations, about 200 from each, were located in two metropolitan areas, using telephone directories, lists of businesses, and licensing lists. Workers in each occupation were recruited and trained to conduct face-to-face interviews. The interviews collected data on numerous early and more recent life experiences. The results indicated that family background measures related to becoming a sex worker were an additional parent or guardian instability and parents receiving public assistance. Childhood experience variables included experiencing physical and sexual abuse and living in a foster home. Influences in emerging adulthood included fewer years of education and indicators of economic need, such as being single or living with an unemployed partner. So, in fact, the data supported both of these explanations. Of course, not every sex worker experienced all of these conditions. For sex workers in the West, economic reasons are often important. Some women are motivated by a desire for money, material goods, and an exciting lifestyle. These women are attracted by the image of the call girl, a status some of them may eventually attain. For some women, for example, a poor but attractive woman, prostitution can be a means of upward economic mobility. Other women enter out of economic necessity in order to survive. The importance of the money, which can amount to hundreds of dollars per day or shift, is illustrated by the dramatic increase in applicants for positions in strip and sex clubs, and also other establishments. A poorly educated single mother may have no alternative means of earning a living. Some women become prostitutes in order to support a drug addiction. Force or coercion is another factor. Some women report being coerced physically or psychologically by a husband or a lover into selling sex for money. As noted in my previous lecture, coercion is a major factor in sex trafficking. Some become involved in prostitution through a family member or friend who is already a sex worker and can teach them the ropes. On entering prostitution, most workers go through an apprenticeship in which they learn the skills of the profession. The apprentice learns sexual techniques, especially fellatio, since many customers want oral sex. She learns how to hustle, to successfully negotiate her services, and pricing with a potential customer. She learns how to maintain control over the interaction so that she can protect herself from being hurt or robbed by clients. She learns values like the customer is always right and fairness to other working girls, if you could call it that. Women who are recruited into this lifestyle by a pimp may be trained by one of his more experienced quote-unquote wives. Some women are trained by an experienced madam in exchange for a large percentage of their fees. There has been relatively little research on the mid-career sex worker. Now, after learning the ropes, a person may work in an in-call or out-call service and try to establish a list of regular clients. If successful, they usually begin to work independently. A woman might move from the street into work or bars, or at a truck stop in response to changes in the weather or her health. Sex workers who are addicted to drugs may be forced to work long hours and service many customers in more than one venue in order to support their habit. Again, some of these changes may result from coercion or exploitation by a pimp, a supplier, or a sex trafficker. Squaring up or living the life refers to giving up prostitution. Financially, it is a difficult thing to do, particularly for the person with no job skills. Recognizing this, analysts call for comprehensive programs that provide education and job training, shelters, medical care, and counseling for women and men who want to leave commercial sex work. Several programs are in operation, including the Sex Workers Project and SAGE, S-A-G-E. Other reasons for leaving include arrest and threat of a long-term jail sentence, government agencies' insistence that sex workers give up their children, and the knowledge that a friend was the victim of violence while working as a prostitute. Violence is a major hazard associated with being a prostitute. 81% of women who work outdoors and 48% of women who work indoors reported being kicked, slapped, or punched by a client. The worst risk is being murdered. The latest in a series of serial killers who prey on prostitutes has killed at least 7 women in Indiana. In my next lecture, we will review the workers' well-being. What are the risks of prostitute or those who are in such careers as sex for sale?